I'm calling to order the Woburn School Committee meeting for October 14th, 2025. Can we all please stand and salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Woburn School Committee meeting. Could the superintendent please call the roll?
Mr. Austin.
Present.
Ms. Chisholm.
Here.
Ms. Cormier.
Here.
Mr. Lipset. Present. Mr. Morenin. Present. Ms. Wetzel.
Here.
Ms. Crowley.
Present. All right, we're going to jump right into the agenda. This meeting is being recorded, so if you are going to speak in public comment, you are consenting to being recorded. Consent agenda. Do I have any action on the 9/9/25 minutes?
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion on that motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Moving on. Do I have any action with regards to approval of 9/25/25 minutes?
Motion to approve.
A motion approved. Do I have a second?
Yep.
Is there any discussion on that motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on. That motion passes. Public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to come before the committee and speak to us? Seeing none.
Okay.
Moving on to City Council liaison to the school committee, Mr. Viola. Would you like to come before the committee tonight, sir?
He's trying.
Hi, Councilor Viola. How are you doing tonight?
Not bad, how are you?
Good. Nice to see you.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Wanted to come before you tonight to speak in favor of the Reeves School potentially getting Station 5 there. Think it'd be a good resource to have, especially with our most medically fragile children that go to the Reeves, most of them. It'd be a good asset to have the fire department there. And also, it's a good deterrent this day and age to have police, fire, anything near our schools. So appreciate if you'd consider that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Viola. Moving on to student representative to the school committee.
So she's unable to attend, but the other students that are here will provide an update.
Oh, great. Okay, I'll be looking forward to that. Moving on to reports and presentations of superintendent and staff. Dr. Crowley?
Sure. So really happy to bring up the newly elected class officers for Woburn Memorial High School, class of 2026. Ms. Current is the advisor. There's no walk-up music, guys, so come on up.
Come on up.
Don't be nervous.
Ashton, just in time.
Yeah.
So, class
We're working on tardiness.
so class president Ashton walking in.
Yeah.
So have a seat. And so just to give context, so the elections were just a little over a week ago for the class of 2026, and in front of you are the representatives of the class of 2026. We had a great meeting last Thursday afternoon to talk about coming tonight. I told them that you would be nice and don't be nervous. I'll ask them to just introduce themselves, talk a little bit about their goals for this school year. And so with that being said, I'll prompt you a little bit at this point. So if you could just, in order, just introduce yourself and your role in the class of 2026.
I'm Jessica Lehan. I'm the vice president for senior.
I'm Ashton Dusselblunt. I'm the president.
I'm Jaden Lee. I'm the student advisor. I'm Tyler Kindell. I'm the treasurer.
Excellent.
Okay, and so if you could, I'm told anyway, Ashton, that you might have some updates from Mr. Qualey regarding the
Yes,
high school.
I wrote them, or he wrote them down for me because I am very
All that.
forgetful. Yeah. There we go. So
He's knocking himself out.
we recently had our emergency drills the past week, so that'd be our fire drill and our ALIS drills. And we just, the other day, last Thursday, actually had the Survive the Drive, Learn, Pledge. So a bunch of students went to the high school auditorium. It was a massive crowd, and we all took a pledge to drive safely and have a pre-plan to make sure that we arrive alive. Additionally, in the upcoming few weeks, we're going to have the PSAT and the SAT at Woburn High. SAT is something that in my 4 years I have not seen at Woburn High, and I'm very glad that we have that. And next week we have the NHS ceremony, so the induction ceremony will be next week.
Great, thank you. Whoop. Here they come. I'm going to defend the students for being late. It's probably because they're doing a million other things, correct?
Also not much parking out there right now.
I'm a Kennedy kid, so I don't know the layout of the school. I was in the ice rink. I don't remember where the ice rink was.
Well, welcome to the Joyce Ashton. Could you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Shannon Spalmadoro, and I'm the secretary.
Great, thank you. And so, do you have a plan, or do you want me to keep prompting you with questions? Do you want to talk about your goals for the year?
The goals as individuals or as like a class?
As a class?
All right, I figured. So, sure, we take some prompts, just so we can cater to your likings.
No, well, I want...
You started it.
As a president, and with your fellow officers, we had a conversation last Thursday, and we talked a little bit about what you're looking forward to this year. And so could you share some of the conversation around your class for 26? What are you looking forward to? What's upcoming?
Absolutely. So we are looking forward to, if we're thinking long run here, definitely our senior prom and senior week. And if we're thinking short term, we're definitely trying to find some fun and entertaining ways to engage the class while also raising money to make sure that senior week and senior prom come with less of a cost.
And do you have a date for the prom?
I think we do, but I don't remember it.
All right.
It was planned by the...
Yeah, so Ms. Curran's nodding yes, so you're all set. And in the short term, so between now and January, are there any events that you would like the public to know about?
We have some that we're planning, but nothing's going to be publicly disclosed just yet.
Fair enough.
Year of mystery, I like it. It's good.
Fair enough. As a group, are there anything that you want to share?
Well, I believe you said it best as is.
Yeah, I think we really just want to bring like the class kind of together like a community this year because it's like our last year all together. We're seniors. It's a really important year for us, and I think for it to be a good senior week and a good senior prom, everybody needs to feel really connected. So like we need to work really hard at like having really fun fundraising activities that like we said like people can like engage in, and just kind of bringing everyone together because like I said, it's our last year all together.
Great. And so I'm anticipating a question from the school committee. Can you tell if you have an idea of thoughts, and we talked about this last Thursday, thinking about next year, post-prom, you're going to graduate on Friday in June. You don't have to be committed to exactly what you say, but any thoughts on what your plans might be for next year, if you want to share?
I'm planning on taking a gap year. I don't know what college I really want to go to, so my parents told me to take a gap year, figure it out, so I don't go crazy.
Great.
I plan on attending a 4-year college, and right now the major that I'm expecting to major in is finance, or something in the finance business realm.
Great.
I also plan on attending a 4-year college studying finance and mathematics, although, like anybody, I'm very uncertain and hope to figure things out.
I also plan on attending a 4-year college, and I plan on going in for computer science as my major. Maybe I might do a minor in mathematics with that, but that's something I'll think about as it gets closer to the deadline of me accepting to a college. And after that, I don't really know what job I'm going directly into with the degree, but I definitely want to do something like the big tech, Apple, Google, Microsoft fields.
I also plan on going to a 4-year college or university. I want to major in psychology, and then I think after college, I want to possibly get my doctorate in forensic psych or criminal psych. But obviously, like we all said, I'm not obviously super confident yet. I mean, I'm not positive as to where I'm going, but I'm applying to colleges this week, and yeah, we'll see.
Great.
Great.
All right. I will stop asking questions.
So I'm Ellen, and I run the meetings. And so I'm going to look at my colleague to see if they have any questions for these fabulous young students. Mr. Lipsett.
So first of all, thank you all for stepping forward. This is a big job. And I'm curious what made each of you want to throw your name in the ring to be a class officer. If you want to pass, that's okay too. But.
I do think we have a couple problems at school, and I'd just like to stay and all the decisions that as a class officer. So that's the main reason.
I've been a member of the activities committee since my freshman year, and since then I've enjoyed coming to the meetings and just having conversations with people, and I thought a leadership position in the committee would allow me to better represent myself and better represent the class in making those decisions. So that's why I decided to step up and go for class president.
As for me, well, truth be told, freshman year, I didn't really know why I went into the position itself. It was more of a curious endeavor. Although I think over these past 4 years, I've realized that there's a lot of communication required to accomplish a goal. A lot of communication to understand each other, and I think it's a very beautiful thing. And in light of that, such communication can help me better understand myself and the needs of my community.
For myself, I find that community, as Jim just said, it's a very important aspect to high school and life after, because you're always going to find yourself in a community. And as a leader in the class office, I find it important for myself to help bring together the class as one and stay connected in these past 4 years to venture out later on into life. As beyond high school, there's a good chance a lot of us won't remain as connected as we are now. So I want to try and use my position to keep us united here and after high school.
I kind of agree with what Jaden said. When I was a freshman, I was sort of just curious and wasn't really sure. And I know a couple of my close friends at the time were like, oh, why don't we run for president? And I was like, oh, sure, I'll run for something. And just kind of as years went on, I thought it was really important to have someone that could really listen to the student body, and because I knew that would be important to having a good homecoming, having good dances, good proms, and I thought I would want to take that role as someone who could talk to my peers and figure out what would be best for our class. And I just gained more and more interest and knew that I wanted to be that person that could kind of convey or be the bridge between what the students wanted versus actually putting it into action.
Thank you. And what I really appreciate about all of your responses is that all of you were really thinking about not just this looks good on a college application, this is good for me, but what is best for my peers, my community, my school. So I really appreciate that selflessness, and thank you for putting yourself forward.
Thank you, Mr. Lipsett. Any more questions? Ms. Wetzel?
Hi. First, congratulations. This is amazing, and congratulations on your future graduation as well. And you mentioned you have senior week, you have senior prom, and those are expensive. How much does it cost typically for those two events? Rough idea if we know. Just curious.
Well, as for the dance, we need to consider how many things we have to outsource, right? For example, we would have to book the venue, the DJ, and other, side areas of that business. I believe last year for prom, what was it, around 11? I'd say 1,100 or so.
Wow.
So, yes, we will need to put in a lot of action when it comes to fundraising.
So you'll be doing a lot of fundraising then.
Absolutely, yes.
So if you wouldn't mind, let us know, and we're happy to broadcast any of those fundraisers to the community just to help raise awareness for you guys. So that's a lot of money, and I know how fun and important it is, though it was a long time ago. It's definitely a lot of fun. So congratulations again, and have a great year.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Wetzel. Anyone else? Mr. Austin?
Thank you, young people. You guys are excellent, wonderful. I'm glad that you guys stepped up to the task. My question kind of piggybacks off of Mr. Lipsett here. I know you stood up, but what would be the change that you want to see this coming school year?
I know personally, what I want to see is a change in, similar to what all of my other officers have said, in how our class sees one another. Now, throughout high school, it's pretty notorious that people end up joining cliques and people end up finding their groups and staying in their groups. And I heard I guess you'd call it a theory, and it's what I call the 30-day theory. It's the last 30 days about before graduation, when all the senior activities are going on, when everyone's having fun, when everyone's just about to head out that door, everyone seems to come together regardless of clique, regardless of social group. And I think what we should do this year, instead of just reserving that for those last 30 days, is just make sure that that lasts from the beginning, from the day that we walked into this high school till beyond beyond the day that we cross that stage. So I think that we need a culture in the school, Tanner pride. We need that Tanner culture of like love and community. And I think that that's what I want to represent. I know that's what my fellow officers want to represent, and I think that's what the student body needs to embody as a whole.
Excellent.
I feel like definitely having like more involvement with like the student body as well, because like a lot in years past, like not everybody was like totally interested in going to sophomore semi, not because of our fundraiser or anything, just because they weren't interested in it. And I feel like definitely just kind of what Ashton said, like to bring us all closer for this entire year, everybody should be more involved. So I feel like we're all hoping for more people to, show up to activities, committee meetings, share their opinions about what they want to do, come to prom, come to homecoming, all those types of things. Like, it would be really nice to see more people involved and showing that they really care about the class rather than, just getting the year over with.
I think more than just our class, but like the whole school in general, I'd like to see attitudes change about going to school. I feel, not us, but a lot of kids, they don't like school, like they don't care about the learning. The second they get there, they want to leave. I like to make it more fun and enjoyable about being in school, if that's possible.
I found that over the past couple of years, a lot of people our age, they have found it harder to make connections to greater groups of people, especially a big class, our class 2026, other classes, especially with the coming of a lot of technology making it harder for us to approach each other face to face and have a good conversation about what's going on in our lives. That I think it's important for us to try and make this connection now, so especially later in life, it doesn't become harder for people to make that connection, because as it gets farther in life, it's hard to make new friends and new people as you start to nest into your one place that you stay, for maybe your job where you live. Making a greater connection out and around, just out of your city, out of your state, all over the world is my biggest, what I want to achieve with our class, trying to get people to see.
I also think it's important to talk about what exactly we mean by enrichment, and it's the light of that. In senior year, it's very stressful for some students, as in it's a very important time of our life, right? We are still figuring things out, whether we want to go into trade vocation, into college, or into the work environment, right? We want to alleviate that stress as best as we can through our events, through our culture. And if we can, such goals will accomplish that.
Excellent. All wonderful answers. The follow-up question with that, I've heard connection, togetherness, community. How do you envision doing so? What do you plan to do to bring community, bring connection amongst your peers?
We have actually in every single year has their own student office. Each of them has what is called an activities committee meeting, or just an activities committee in general, where students from said year can essentially congregate, communicate their ideas for what kind of events they'd like to see. They can give their input, their ideas here. Such a thing we have to intentionally advertise to many of the members of our student year. And in hopes of doing so, we will be able to get their voice and effectively make more of like that.
I couldn't agree with what Jason said more. Like, I completely agree with what he said. I just think definitely really trying to hear everybody out with posting on social media, maybe like a Google form of what interests you the most, in relation to this activity or this fundraising event. Just really trying to include what everybody wants, because I think it's hard to please everybody, but I think there's a way if we work hard enough to try and create something that everybody will be interested in. So I just feel like definitely listening to everybody and putting the option out there, where they can express their own opinions and what they'd like to do or not like to do.
I think a tangible way with what Jaden said, getting more people to those meetings where they can have their voice heard and where they can embrace that togetherness of the class. What I'd like to do is I'd like to make it more known that we are having these meetings, because I think a big issue that we've seen in years past is that many people have just not known that these meetings are taking place. And we obviously as officers are reaching out to our friends, but our friends aren't the whole school, they aren't the whole class, and that's not the proper spectrum of all voices being heard. I think we should just advertise it, maybe posters, maybe social media posts. We have a Class of 2026 Activities Committee Instagram. I'm not sure what other social medias we have because that wasn't my job. And I think we could totally utilize those, and as well as posters, just to get more people to come, get other people's voices heard, and ultimately bring our community together and embody that Tanner pride that this school needs more of.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you, young people. I'm excited for you guys for this year. I'm expecting to see great things from each of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Austin. Vice Chair Chisholm?
You guys are great. I'm very proud of you. Maybe you could talk about if you belong to sports or other clubs that you belong to that can advertise what we're doing up at Woburn High.
I'm the co-president of Molly UN in our coding club. I captain the track and I quit volleyball this year, but I played volleyball.
I am the president of both the Italian Club and the Italian Honor Society, as well as the president of the class. I'm also a captain on our school's math team. I'm one of 3, and I'm very proud to have that role because I've been a member of the math team since I was a scrawny little freshman. So I'm glad that I got a leadership position there. And I'm also a volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club. I have been now since my freshman year, and that's been one of my most fulfilling extracurriculars. It's just an hour a week, but it means so much for me. I go over there and I help a bunch of kids and I just help them out with their homework from 3 to 4 at the Boys and Girls Club, and I plan on starting that again this year. I'm a little bit behind on that, I can't lie. And as well as that, I am also a freshman mentor, an executive freshman mentor, which means I not only assist freshmen in adapting to the high school environment, I'm also assisting the mentors who do that process. So it goes like the freshmen who are being mentored, the mentors, the executive mentors, and then core trainings who are the ones who train from the top down. So I'm an executive there, and I've been an executive since my junior year, and I've really appreciated that opportunity. And on top of that, I am a peer mediator, so I have received training in September, 30 hours of training total. And if there are conflicts in the school, before going to administrative discipline, they come to peer mediation, where they can talk with people who are their age, who would be more understanding of their situation, as we are also high schoolers. So those are the ones that I describe myself as the most. Those are my top extracurriculars that I do at Woburn.
I feel ashamed to say I'm not as busy as this guy. Similarly, I am part of the math and science team, have been a member since freshman year. I am part of a volunteering nonprofit organization. It is also a branch of the Boys and Girls Club. It is called the Intrepid Keystone Club, where we can essentially do community service for the younger audience of Woburn. And I am also a member of the DECA Business Club. And I actually told Dr. Crowley this last Thursday. Last year, I went to the International Finance Competition in Florida, which was a very valuable experience.
Nice.
I am a member of the Coding Club with Jess as our fantastic co-president, where for like the first few months of the school year, we'll start by teaching our new members a programming language. We usually go with Python. Then between January and March, we'll actually head down to the Kennedy and start to teach them how to program week by week. We'll go every Monday for about an hour after school, and that's just been such a fun after-school activity to help raise the younger generation through one of my biggest passions, what I want to go into during college. And as well as that, I'm also a freshman mentor, as Ashley described a lot of. I'm not an executive, so I am part of the going into the freshmen's advisories and mentoring them on helping them in all different aspects, not only in the school life, where different people are, and you can talk to them, where different classes are, but also in their personal lives, just making the connection with them, giving them a friend who's been around for a few years longer that knows a bit more. Yeah, that's probably what I did.
I'm one of the co-presidents of the Survive the Drive Learn Club, which is a club about preventing impaired driving and keeping the roads safe. I'm also the secretary of the Spanish Honor Society. I am the secretary of the Spanish Club. Those kind of go hand in hand. I'm the social media manager for the Community Food Project, which is where a couple friends and I are all members of the club. We go down to the dwelling place in Woburn Center and we help feed the less fortunate. I'm also part of DECA. I'm a 4-year member of DECA. I'm also a freshman mentor as well. I also just started playing field hockey this year, but for freshman through junior, I played soccer in the fall. I'm a 4-year member of outdoor track team, 3-year member of the indoor track team, and then I played a little bit of basketball my freshman year, but I'm a member of the green team as well. That's all I can think of.
You guys are amazing with all the leadership programs that you're doing. And since we have a packed room here, maybe you can talk about where people could donate to your class if they would like to. Do you have some place that they could donate to the senior class to help defray the costs? I mean, we have a lot of people here that might make a lot more money than. Is there any? You're the treasurer. You're the money guy. That's what I'm looking at you. Like,
Collection plate.
So we do have a
you can pass a hat, maybe. Oh, Emma.
I'll pass around my jacket. So our class, we do have a Venmo and a Cash App account. I do know, I actually do not remember the password for both of them. I will not lie.
Okay.
If you'd like me to check right now, I could.
Well, we could maybe post it to our website at some point to let you, so that we can make sure people know that they can help you out. As little as it is, it adds up if many people do.
That's a great idea, Vice Chair Chisholm. Also, they have a student rep, too, that could also
that
pass
could-
along that information.
Yeah, go through them, that would be great. And I look forward to graduation for you all. But have a wonderful year.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mulrennan, did you have something?
Thank you, Madam Chair. A lot of my questions have already been answered, but I do recognize quite a few of these young men and women tonight. I know we have a TV star among us from the public cable TV wanting announcements. We have a student rep that was a delegate last year with the superintendent and I during Student Government Day. So again, this group is very, very well representative of the Woburn Memorial High School student base. I think some of the concerns you brought up were changes and things like that. I guess my question would be, or my concern, obviously you're all leaving hopefully in June. How's the culture, how's the atmosphere at Woburn Memorial High School now with new leadership of Mr. Quayle in place, the associate principal, and how's the leadership, how do you feel about being around the building? Anybody?
I feel like the environment has gotten much better under Principal Quayle than it has been in years prior. Do I think it's perfect? I don't think it's perfect, but I don't think we can ever really achieve a perfectly safe and behaved class. There's always going to be just a little bit of riffraff. But I think we are getting as close to the ideal as we could be under Principal Quayle. I'm noticing that this has felt like my first completely normal year since before COVID, and I've really appreciated that, and I feel like that can be accredited to Mr. Quayle.
I absolutely agree with that. It's been, really since freshman year, it's felt as if the entire building's been kind of chaotic with how roles were switching around in the upper levels, how some people were leaving and going into the building, into the system, that this year very much felt tame, as if everything's grounded. Principal Quayle has been doing a fantastic job making sure everything's in order and staying fully operational. I can't say it's been exactly like that the past few years since we've started high school.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what they both just said. It's definitely been a lot more tame, I guess is a good word for it, because exactly what Tyler said, it's been really different. Like starting freshman year, there was, like you said, a ton of new leaders and principals and vice principals and all that. And it was really it didn't really feel like we were all connected, like it was all one. And I feel like this year it's definitely felt more like a community and definitely calmer and I just think that, yeah, like Ashton said, I don't think it can really ever be perfect, no matter what the school system is, no matter what you do. But I think that definitely it's been a lot more uniform and a lot more of just like a gentle environment. And yeah, I definitely give great thanks to Mr. Quayle for that.
I'm sure Dr. Crowley would say it takes a team, so it's Mr. Quayle and the leadership in that building again. I want to thank you all for coming out. I look forward to what you bring to the class of 2026 and what you've already accomplished so far, just being before us tonight. I can't wait to see what happens in the future. Thank you very much for coming out. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? No? Well, thank you so much, class officers of 2026. It was an absolute pleasure to meet you. And also, I want to acknowledge Ms. Curran in the audience. Thank you so much for being here tonight and bringing these wonderful human beings to meet the school committee. Is there anything else you want to say before we dismiss you, or? Great. I noticed that you, I'm sorry, what?
Thanks for listening.
Of course. Oh, that's great. I noticed that you said that you had met with the superintendent. Do you often meet with administration to kind of have a two-way conversation about what's going on in the schools from your perspective?
Well, aside from the principals, no, this is primarily the first year we have been, well, a direct contact with them. Granted, there have been possible methods in the past where we could have contacted them, although we were kind of lazy in that regard. But yes, it's going very smoothly so far.
Great. That's great to hear. Well, we are the school committee, and the way that you can reach us is through the superintendent. He communicates on our behalf, or you can reach out to me directly if you ever have any concerns. I'm the chair of the school committee. So it was wonderful to meet you all, and you're all wise beyond your years.
Best of luck.
Thank you. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to the agenda, Mr. Mayor, that is going to be very difficult to follow. I'll set the table for it,
Sure.
Dr. Crowley, if you want. So I anticipate that the mayor and his team are going to discuss with us
When she comes in.
the request to use Gillis Field, which is on the Reeves, is under the control of the school committee, to construct a fire station number 5. It is on the grounds of the Reeves, and so what I anticipate the city is going to be requesting the school committee to do is to give back, whatever the verb is, city solicitor, somebody, that we are no longer using that site, AKA Gillis Field, for education purposes, and to allow the city to use it for the purposes of constructing a fire station. So just to set the table on that. And so we will hear from the mayor, and you can start whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Of course. Good evening.
We're blocking your view.
Shuffle it up.
Yeah, right there.
Do you want to get one now?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think if we shut
Are you going
the light
to
off.
start with the presentation?
I was going to start by speaking first. That should take about an hour.
Mr. Mayor, if you want to just let me know when you want the lights off so that we can see the screen.
Okay, I think we're good to start. So good evening, everyone, and you think we could have the class officers do the presentation? Very impressive group. So good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee and the administration, and members of the audience. The table setting was accurate. Appreciate that. We are here to ask for the cooperation and the collaboration of the school committee as we attempt to locate a new Station 5 for the Woburn Fire Department. I'm joined tonight by our consultants at Danisco Design, as well as the fire chief and the city solicitor, but I'm also joined by members of the Fire Station Building Committee in the audience. Members of the Woburn Fire Department are here as well, several members to show their support of this project. Members of the City Council as well. I appreciate everyone being here to show their support for this much-needed improvement to our public safety program. As you mentioned, we're looking to locate a new Station 5 on the Gillis Field site next to the Reeves School. By way of background, and I'll try to be brief, the city embarked on an upgrade program many years ago. You saw it manifest mostly in the headquarters that's been built on Main Street near the Rotary. There was money allocated at the time to build that headquarters and essentially do whatever else we could do with the remaining $6.5 million to address the needs of the other 3 fire stations in town. About a year and a half ago, we met as a group, assessed the actual needs, and determined that that remaining $6.5 million from the original bond authorization would not be sufficient to have any significant impact to the actual needs of the remaining 3 fire stations. So we met as a team and presented to the City Council a request for an additional bond authorization that would allow us to more adequately address the needs of the other stations. Very, very appreciative that the City Council approved that bond authorization for $30 million that essentially allows us to build 2 brand-new fire stations of $14 to $15 million apiece. One would be Station 4 in the east side, across from the Goodyear School, and the other is Station 5 on the west side, the one we're talking about tonight. I'd also add, just to continue or finish the picture, the remaining funds that are from the original bond authorization, the $6.5 million, it would be our intent to use those funds to upgrade Station 1 in the south end. The newest of the stations, I guess I'd describe it as the least needy of the stations. So when all is said and done with this program, we will have 4 adequate fire stations in the city for many years to come. So Station 4 on the east side is underway. The old station has been knocked down. The crews are operating out of a temporary location in the district. We expect to go out to bid in construction in the next week or 2. We're very optimistic that we'll be able to stick with our schedule and our budget, and you'll see a new Station 4 up approximately 14, 15 months from now. We knew at the outset that Station 5 would be a little more difficult than Station 4 because we knew we needed a different site. The site that currently houses Station 5 is not adequate. I'm told that if we were to try to build the current Station 5 on the current location today, we wouldn't be allowed. It doesn't meet the requirements in terms of setbacks. It's got some environmental issues. The topography and geography just simply don't work for a new fire station there, nor does the actual location. The ideal location for a west side station is somewhere close to the Four Corners. And I should point out that when we embarked on this program years and years ago, there was a facility location analysis done that identified the best locations for these fire stations, and Station 5 was clearly identified as belonging in the Four Corners. So, again, with gratitude to the City Council, we began the process. We're well underway with 4. When we turned our attention to Station 5, the first question to be answered is, where could we put it? I'll point out that the bond authorization did not allow for us to purchase land or a building, so we were tasked with trying to find a location that the city already owned. We identified several possibilities, locations in the city that we owned, and tried to go through the pros and cons of each of those locations to identify a spot for a west side fire station. There's a slide on the screen identifying the various locations we looked at. Most people are probably familiar with them, but just to go briefly, one of them is the, I'll start with the Tarkey site
I'm
first.
just going to turn off the lights so people can see the screen.
Thank
behind
you.
a little bit better.
I'll start with the first possible location being the Tarkey site. People are familiar with the old Tarkey School up at the end of Russell Street. City-owned property, probably adequate land to put a station there. But again, as I go back to the fire facility location analysis that was originally done, not not a good location in terms of location in the city. It's just too far west for adequate response times for Station 5's service needs. Next site we looked at, and these are all being kicked around for months at a time. We looked at the Gonzales Court site. Over by Gonzales Field, you got the tennis courts. Small area, tight location, somewhat congested, an odd intersection, and again, a little too far northeast. Didn't really fit in the geography with the facility location analysis identified as an appropriate site for a West Side Station. We also looked at property just outside here, the Joyce Middle School, heading towards Cambridge Road. Not an ideal location in terms of high-tension wires, bit of some topography challenges, some grade issues. It would involve taking an active soccer field, and it would present some issues in terms of cohabitating with this particular facility. And there was also the unknown as to whether the school department might actually need that space going forward as it reviews its building needs. We also looked at the Shaker Glen site, so at the bottom of Russell Street, in back of the bank building, there's a vast area that the city is looking at in terms of a wetlands and potential park area project. And we thought that perhaps we could piggyback on those efforts in terms of site prep work and maybe build the fire station there. So we examined that site for a while and began the process of exploring environmental and other types of issues. And what we learned was the permitting process for that particular site and the time and the cost and the effort alone would push us many, many years out. And we determined that it was just not an appropriate site to put a fire station, given all of the challenges that that particular site presents. All the while we were looking at these other sites, we were aware of the Gillis Field site, and we're beginning some exploratory investigation there. And each step along the way led us to believe that we could actually put a fire station there. But we needed to get some of those answers before we came to the school committee to have a discussion about whether you would allow us that property. We needed to make sure we were comfortable in saying that we can build a fire station there. And we're at that point now. We have begun the process with the Conservation Commission for their review and their input. So we feel it's appropriate that we now come to the school committee and have the conversation with you about whether you would consider the use of the Gillis Field site for a fire station. I can tell you that there are no other sites over here on the west side that the city already owns. Certainly nothing that could accommodate the needs. This is, in fact, the best location for a fire station per the analysis. The chief is here to speak a little bit about what that really means. But that's why we're here tonight. We've gotten to the point now where we've crossed off all the other possibilities. We've honed in on this site as the most appropriate. We believe that we can work with this committee to co-locate and to have this fire station operate smoothly next door to the Reeves School. And I think what we would be looking for at the end of the discussion, the conversation, is the blessing of the school committee in the form of a vote to say that this committee has determined it no longer needs that field for educational purposes and it can be used for public safety purposes. So that's an overview. What I'd like to do is bring up the chief to just talk very briefly about why we need this fire station, why we need it in the west side, a little bit about response times, and then and then I'll ask Donna to come back up and go through more of a formal presentation.
Thanks, Mayor. Great job. I just echo his sentiment. So right now, our Station 5 doesn't meet our current needs. And the faster we move our guys out of there, the better it's going to be for us. It's all about response times, and we really feel like the Four Corners location at the Reeves is perfect for us. And I think you'll see that as the slides unfold, and I'd be happy to answer anybody's questions. You covered it pretty well, Mayor.
So one thing that I know will strike a chord with the school committee as you've been reviewing your own building feasibility studies and results, maybe it doesn't need to be said, but I'll say it anyway. Station 5 desperately needs to be replaced. That is not an option anymore. We should not have these firefighters working out of this facility much longer. What we've settled on is a design that we can use at Station 4 and Station 5. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're using the same design. We're saving design costs by simply using a cookie-cutter approach. But it's a thoughtful approach that serves the needs now and into the future and brings us up to speed. I can tell you that the accommodations at Station 5 are woefully inadequate, and a new station will allow us to operate safely and just a much more professional manner. So, again, maybe it didn't need to be said, but I can assure you that we got to get out of the current 5, and we're going to have to put a fire station on the west side. We cannot find any other location but this one, and it does happen to be the very best location. Thank you, Chief. So at this point, if you like, we can keep going through and then address questions.
I think that's best. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.
So Donna's here to talk a little bit about the site and how we got to this point.
Good evening. It's nice to see everyone tonight. So thank you, Mayor, for just bringing everyone up to speed. We have started the Conservation Commission process as it relates to the Reeves School site, and this is kind of awkward, but as well as the Gillis Field. And so just to put this into perspective, it's approximately a 17-acre site. The school predominantly uses the site really from the driveway to the south up north. We have wetlands here. We have the Gillis Field and some additional wetlands to the south of Gillis Field. And we recognize that the site has been through a lot, right? What you're seeing is the dashed-in line of the existing Reeves School until the new school was built. They actually coexisted for quite some time, and now the Reeves is, well, I guess as I've heard, is the oldest, newest school, if that even makes any sense. But yes, it does. So I'm trying to do two at the same time. What we're proposing for the Station 5 is it's a small building. Its footprint is about 6,500 square feet, and we'll show you some additional renderings. But the intent is to remain outside of school operations at all times. It will have its own dedicated entrance off of Lexington Street here for all of the emergency vehicles. For the ambulance and fire trucks will be exiting and entering off of Lexington Street. The only access that would be needed onto the school property, so to speak, or on the driveway, would be the 3 cars for the firefighters. And they have a 24-hour shift, so they normally are there. The shifts are from 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. It's a 24-hour shift. So a shift change would be 3 cars coming in. So you might have a maximum of 6 cars in the back parking area and it would only be, you can't really see it, but this is, authorized vehicles only, no one else would come in it. The shift would occur, and then the three vehicles would leave, and there would be three vehicles. So you're not going to have a lot of additional traffic. You won't really have any additional traffic coming on and off the site, especially as it relates to the traffic operations of the existing school. And we just showed here what that really means for school operations. Again, 3 additional cars, hopefully before school arrival time, and it doesn't impact the dismissal time. So here's a close-up view of Station 5. What it is really, again, it's about 6,500 square feet footprint. It is, almost what you would consider these days. It's a very large house with a very large 3-car garage. That's predominantly what we're looking at. It's 11,000 square feet in total, but the footprint itself is only 6,500 square feet. And here's a view of the station. Lexington Street is in front, and we'll be looking at it. The top of the tower is 34 feet. Thank you, Philip Rizzo from my office here. And then this is about 24 feet to the top of the building itself. Here's a view of the proposed station at the entrance of the Reeves School. So, I'm clicking too many. So what you'll see here is, again, the distance from the Reeves entrance is about 410 feet. Put it into context, the Station 4 to the Goodyear School, although you're crossing a street, is only about 210 feet. So this is actually almost double the distance from the Reeves, from Fire Station 4. We'll be doing some cleanup. There's a lot of shrubs and invasives, and working with Conservation Commission, but we'll be cleaning those up and planting some additional trees. I'm pressing the wrong button, sorry. This is a view of the station kind of driving down Lexington Street, looking at the Reeves School in the background. And then this is the view of the back entrance for the firefighters. So where we are right now is obviously before you. We have started the Conservation Commission process. We have submitted and have determined an ANRAD, an abbreviated notice of resource areas. We will be going before City Council at some point between now and mid-November. We'll be submitting the notice of intent for Conservation Commission mid-November, and then with the Conservation Commission going through the notice of intent process in December. So the overall schedule for the project is, as the mayor said, this is what we call model fire station. We are really using, with a few minor modifications to Station 4, we'll be using it. So this is a fast track, which is great for the firefighters that are in Station 5 right now. And this will also save time, and it will save money. So what we have here is we're pretty much right in the middle of October. We'll have a cost estimate set complete next week. Then we'll continue design development through November. We'll have our construction document phase for only about 4 months, and then we'll go out to bid in the spring, April, May, and then our goal would be to mobilize and start construction around when school gets out in the end of June, and it will take us through the end of July of '27. So unlike Station 4, we don't have a station to take down, so that's good. And it will also speed up the process as well. So I think that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Dawn. So we also have City Solicitor Mark Salvati here, who can just talk briefly about the ask, the process, what it is we need, and then I'll make a couple of final comments, and then we'll see if there's, I'm sure there will be some questions.
Probably a few.
So Mark, if you could.
Thank you, Mayor.
40 or 50, maybe.
Thank you. So it's a fairly simple process pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 3. Anytime that there is property in the care and custody of the school, whether it's owned by the school or owned by the city, but the school does have the care and custody of the Reeves, the school committee is required to take some action to say that either the whole property or a portion of the property is no longer needed for educational use. So what we'd be looking for is for the committee to make such a determination that the portion that we're looking to use is no longer needed for educational use. There's no intent here at this point to subdivide the property. There won't be a deed out. It'll just come back like the Wyman to the care and custody of the city, and we'll just get a building permit and move on from there. So it's fairly simple, and I'll be glad to take any questions on that process. Yep.
So in addition to the few you heard from tonight, we also have the other members of the Fire Station Building Committee here. I appreciate their time. They've been working on these two projects for a year and a half now. If there were particular questions, we have the city engineer and the DPW superintendent and the building commissioner and others here. As you saw from the proposed project timeline, there is a benefit to moving fairly quickly in terms of getting the project started when school's out and getting it wrapped up before school starts again 14 months later. But we also understand that this is a significant discussion, conversation. We felt it was best to try to bring everybody in the room tonight and see if every imagined, well, any question that might be thought of could be addressed tonight. Do not want to appear as if we're rushing anybody. I just want everybody to be able to ask any question they have and have the right people in the room to answer it, so that if at all possible, we could try to jump on this schedule that Donna proposed to you. So with that, and with the full team assembled, I would ask if there are any questions.
All right, I'm going to turn to the committee. I want the committee to know two things. First is that there's a two-part analysis. You can ask the questions about the fire station, and then, as you all know, I've sent questions to Dr. Crowley on the use of the Gillis Field to help us inform what we are currently using it for education purposes. So there's a two-part analysis. But we'll start with any questions for the mayor and his team. Vice Chair Chisholm.
I have a ton, but also I'll stop halfway through. I want to say, first and foremost, I agree we need a fire station. It's been needed for many, many years. I support the fire department. I think that this, definitely has to happen. I have a huge amount of anxiety over this project for different reasons, but I do think that it's necessary and it's needed to have a new one made. And we talk about the good year with the fire station across from an elementary, but it is separated by a street, and it's been there forever and a day, and the kids play out back. These kids play out in the front, so one of the accommodations I would like to see, if this does go forward, is that a fence is erected on the Reeves School property, taking out of the bond, to protect those kids, that if there's a loose ball, they come out. I mean, there is staff with them, but I just don't want anybody having to deal with that. And that school also houses some of our vulnerable students, and sensory issues is a problem. And those big red trucks make a lot of noise. So I just would like to see if somehow we could work on reducing that. Not to say they couldn't put their sirens on, because we know that has to happen, but something maybe in the school that could help with a classroom having more soundproofing or windows or something that would eliminate the fear of that. Because I just think that that's important, and those kids sometimes, just the sound of any car going by or something would distract them from classroom activities, and I think that's important to know. And what's the difference between fire station and the East Woburn compared to the new one being built? They're going to be
Identical, yeah.
And that site in East Woburn, is that much smaller than the site for West Side?
It's much larger.
The East Woburn, the Station 4 in East Woburn is being built on the its
Present one, yeah.
current site. And the site where Station 5 is could not accommodate that size building.
Okay. And we have to have a 3-bay, that's what you
Yes.
definitely want to have?
Yes.
Because I just
And
wanna-
again, that helps with the efficiency by having the same exact design.
Okay, and I just, for Phil J., I know that was one of our questions, I don't know if the Reeve School still uses it. I saw the principal sitting here, and I just don't want to lose anything for us. And part of my fear is that we've been criticized for years that, we give away our land, and then all of a sudden we need a school, and everybody looks at it and says, but you gave away the land. And not that we're giving it away to not use, it's being used by the city, and we're in this together, and the same taxes pay for all of us, so we understand that. But the Reeves community, the building permits are given out like candy on Halloween, so I'm just afraid that with all that building going on, the Reeves got to expand and we'll have no place to go. So that's a real big concern to me. And I also want to make sure that we give the Reeves community a chance to express their concerns, because a lot of people don't even know this is transpiring. Unless you're on Facebook, you really don't know what's going on. So I know that you're having a meeting
Yes.
next week.
Yes.
So that I think if we could postpone that till all those questions and fears and concerns, I mean, I have no problem if everybody is happy with it, because it's the taxpayers that make this decision, really not just us. So I would just like everybody to have a chance to voice their concerns. So I just want that to happen. And also, I'd like to do a little research on the Gillis dedication of that field. What will we do to maintain that?
Yeah, so to that point, if I may.
Yep.
There is a monument at the field.
Mhm.
Richard Gillis is the gentleman for whom the field is named. It would be our intention to preserve that monument,
Okay.
find an appropriate spot on the site that all could agree was appropriate, and maintain that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I just don't want to lose sight of that, because I feel bad when we do it and years later, it's, overgrown and forgotten. I mean, even if that became part of the Reeve School, that would be fine, too.
Yep, we would definitely find a suitable spot
Okay.
for that.
All right.
And to your point, Ms. Chisholm, a couple other points. We want this to be a collaborative endeavor. We want people to be glad that we did this. We don't want anyone to feel like we're forcing it on you. We don't want the Reeves parents, the neighbors, to feel like this is something they don't have a choice in. I'm just trying to make the point that we've identified all of the available locations, and this is the one that can accommodate this fire station. We don't have a lot of other options, so I think it would be helpful for us to focus on one of the points you made about cohabitating
Mhm.
nicely together,
Right.
and making sure that we're doing all we can to be good neighbors, because we want to be good neighbors. And I think you'd find, if you asked the Goodyear school staff, parents and teachers, they would tell you that the Station 4 is a good neighbor, and they're glad it's there. And we want the people in the west side to feel the same way about their new fire station. And to that end, as we proceed, we would look forward to working with this committee to find ways to be the best neighbors we could be. We've already talked a little bit about some of the deficiencies that were noted at the Reeves School site when, ironically, Danisco did their facility study, and things like the opening to the parking lot itself, and that lane that would serve as the beginning of the circulation route. Are there improvements that could be made there? Are there barriers and separation that could make it work better? We're on board with all of that. Again, we want this to be a welcome addition. It's a much-needed addition, but we want it to be welcome, too.
So if we could make a list of what we would like to see.
Well,
It's like this long.
I think we should talk about
We can just attach it to the bond.
what
and
we
say,
think is necessary
Yeah.
and, reasonable and appropriate.
Correct.
To your point, we've been authorized to put out bonds and spend money for a certain project. There are limitations on what we can do with that money, and we're bound by that. I think things like the 2 driveways and making sure they work properly, sidewalks, the barrier between the 2 locations, maybe the travel lane itself. We're going to be in that area doing work anyway, so I think those types of things can be justified. I think we have to be careful about adding on something that really doesn't fit within those constraints.
Okay, because we just have to sell it to the Reeves parents, and I want to make sure that they don't have any interpretations about their kids being on, sharing a lot with them.
Yeah, I'd like to think that the Reeves parents at the end of all this will be thrilled to have emergency first responders that close to their precious children. I think the Reeves parents will hopefully find themselves in the same position as the Goodyear parents, who the ones I've talked to are really happy to have the firefighters right across the street from their children.
I'll let others jump in.
Thank you, Vice Chair Chisholm. I'm making a note of some of the things that you asked for. You asked for a fencing, and then the sensory issues. Was there something else?
The Gillis, the
Gillis
dedication,
Field.
yeah.
Okay. I'm just keeping track of the questions that the
I'll
school
help
committee
you.
might have. Anyone else have questions? Ms. Wetzel?
First, thank you for the presentation. Great to see everybody here and the support for the station. Very much needed, as you said. And I'm a Goodyear parent, so I've kind of followed along the Goodyear station. And as a community, I can say we're excited to have it up and running again and in conditions that are appropriate for our first responders. So I very much appreciate that work. And the layout that we have here, also very helpful. I'm looking forward to the meeting next week that Councilor Biella is organizing. I think that's wonderful to really make sure the community really understands what will be happening, and I think it's great that we're here today too, so it gives people two really opportunities to understand, learn, and ask appropriate questions. So I want to thank you for that transparency as well. I don't actually really have too much questions. The one thing when we were looking at asks, and Mr. Mayor, we talked a little bit about this too, and you've already alluded to it a little bit, was the parking lot at the Reeves, and I think it would be a good conversation to have with the admin at the building as well as the teachers, but and the parents on ways we might be able to improve that a little bit as we're looking at the flow for the fire station potentially, and then the flow of the of the Reeves traffic. And we did receive public communication about a fence, which Ms. Chisholm brought up, and I know that was sent over to you as well. But I just wanted to make sure that the community knew about that.
If I could point out, Ms. Wetzel, Lexington Street in this area is a state road, so we'll need MassDOT permission and approval to do a curb cut and these other improvements, but we are hopeful that they'll see benefit in the types of adjustments we're talking to about the mouth of the current Reeves School entryway. I mean, it's odd, to say the least. It's exceedingly wide. I'd go so far as to say it's not safe being that far across. So I think MassDOT would look favorably on those types of improvements to the Reeves School entrance in conjunction with our new curb cut.
Yeah, agree. It is a very wide. You have sometimes three cars trying to turn left or right. I thought of a question as you were speaking, and it slipped my mind. But I guess my only other thought, if people wanted some more information and to talk about how neighbors work together, if people could always go to the YMCA as well and ask how their relationship was with like the fire station there. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure it was beneficial, especially if they have that camp right there. Yep. That takes place in the summer. So just something, food for thought for the community. But yep. I appreciate the work that you're doing. I look forward to hearing more from the meeting next week. And then we have our school committee meeting next on the October 29th. I don't know if we vote it then. Would that still work within the timeline that you have projected here if we didn't vote today? Just so that way everybody sort of has a chance to make sure
I think that can
on
work.
Board. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wetzel. Any more questions for the mayor and his team? Mr. Lipset?
This is actually probably best a question for the chief, but I'm curious, and I'm asking out of a place of complete and total ignorance, so if that comes across, don't judge me. I'm curious about any environmental impacts from a fire station. I know that there are, materials that firefighters have used in the past that may contain PFAS, things like that. There have been state mitigation programs.
Yeah, we're talking about foam, we don't use it in Woburn,
Okay.
and they don't make it that way anymore.
Okay.
We did have some, and that's been taken by the state.
Okay, great.
It's not a thing we do anymore.
Okay.
And
Much appreciated.
if I could, Andrew,
Yeah.
one of the benefits to a new fire station is we're able to integrate all of the up-to-date technology, things as simple as cleaning off the gear when they come back from a scene. These new stations do it efficiently, correctly, environmentally safe. These are the things that we need to do to make sure that our first responders aren't bringing things back to where they're waiting for the next call, or God forbid, bringing it home to their families. These are the things that are long overdue, that these new stations will bring for us. And they incorporate all of the technology to make sure that we're doing it right. So I would view a new station as an improvement over the way we're doing it now.
Just to add one more thing.
Yeah.
So the majority of our training classroom, outside training will happen at HQ, 731 Main Street. The mechanic function that was over the west side is no longer at the west side, it's at HQ. So, very clean site.
Okay, great. Thank you, I appreciate that. And clearly, this is a clear and obvious need. I just want to make sure that we're doing our duty for the families of the Reeves. I echo what Ms. Chisholm said about making sure that we have a forum where we have the ability to hear from the Reeves community, from staff, from parents, from families, as we are considering this as well. So I think that's a good suggestion, and one that I would like to see us pursue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lipset. Any more questions? Mr. Mulrennan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I would, obviously, looking out in the audience tonight, we see some firefighters. Anybody that's been stationed at that station, which, by the way, I have been at that station in my past life. To your point, Chief, you're right. Sooner rather than later. I understand there's concerns and questions. The mayor's having a meeting. Councilor Viola's having a neighborhood session. The principal's been available for any concerns the neighbors may be having. I know when we visited the site back in May, Mr. Mayor, we had a school visit that day. You took us outside and said, we're kind of hatching it around looking at it. And here we are, almost November, and we're at the point where we're ready to pull the plug, ready to push the button for the goal. I've seen his presentation last week. The school committee's been invited, the administration's been invited. I think this group of experts have done their homework. The only thing I think missing, Donna, would be the garage for the guys that are working. If those cars could be in a garage, perhaps, rather than outside in the weather, can make that happen?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
That might be a budget buster.
A budget buster right there. I think, it's all the concerns that neighbors are going to have, they will be addressed, I'm sure. I would like to see this happen tonight and get the people that are working at that station. Again, it hasn't brought up the chief or the mayor hasn't invited anybody in this room to stop by and visit the station they're talking about to replace. Station 4 is on its way, Don. It looks great over there. It's a clean site. The old building's gone. This will be a nice, clean rebuild at a new site. The concerns, sure, there's lots of concerns. There's going to be traffic concerns. There'll be this concern. There'll be noise concerns, which I'm sure this committee, the mayor's building committee, the firefighters, along with the professionals, experts that are running this, will answer all those questions satisfactory to these people. So for myself, I don't see any reason to delay the vote here tonight by the school board, knowing that moving forward, people will still get their information. And if you have another question, the people are here tonight. The mayor brought the entire team here tonight. We've got Mr. Quinn here, we've got Pat Saeda here, we've got, I think I saw Jay Duran out there, Public Works folks, anybody that has concerns, with the mayor's here as well, they can answer their questions. We've got firefighters, administration from the fire department that are just answering to get out of that building, I'm sure. Just like we were answering to get out of some of our school buildings and we couldn't wait to get out of certain buildings and get into the new modern facilities. To the chief's point, there's no more foam, there's no more dangers. The firefighters' gear will get cleaned, will get washed. They're not going to be disturbing anything. The fire department this weekend's having an open house. You get a chance, stop by HQ and see the modern, ultra-modern facilities that this administration has brought forth to the firefighters and to the community. Yeah, it's near a school. I still can't figure out which came first, the Goodyear blimp or the East Woburn Fire Station, because they've been working, coexisting for so long, for so good, and I don't see anything wrong with making the move. I'll make the motion shortly tonight, to Mr. Salvati's language, to make this happen tonight. If it doesn't go, it doesn't go, then we'll bring it up at the next meeting, and it'll just be a delay. To Mr. Nisco's point, at the last meeting she had on the calendar there, they're building a building. Yes, they are building a building, but they're going to do it like over the summer break. A lot of it will be done over the summer break. Couldn't ask for a better thing, right? If you're a neighbor that's building a house next door, oh my God, so much noise, so much contract. Well, the way the plan is laid out, a lot of it is done during the summertime when the children in the school was not being used. As for the other concerns, I'm sure they'll be addressed by this group before us tonight. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows my opinion on it. As a former firefighter myself, I'm looking out for the men and women, the firefighters that are working today, and to the chief's point and the mayor's point, in the future. This is our future. The 3 bays station, it's not a dream anymore. It's right here. The mayor of this group would save money by saying, why not just copy the station from East Woburn and put it over the west side? A cost savings measure right there by this group, which I really appreciate that. And again, if you look at the drawings, to me, they're far enough away. I think the state and the people in charge of guide rails and fencing and all the protective areas that they have to do will accommodate what's necessary at the time. So I think I'll get off my soapbox now and let anybody else speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
If I could just follow up on that, there will be a special permit requirement for this, so it will be a public hearing in front of the city council as well. So there'll be ample opportunity for the public to weigh in on this.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr. Salvati.
Dr. Ryan, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I actually just wanted to offer a couple of points of information, just for
Yes,
purposes
please.
of discussion. And I very much understand that this is an important project, and I appreciate the discussion about coexisting. And so just a couple of points of information, just to keep your conversation going a little bit. Right now at the Reeves, and I was just trying to do some quick math as of today, we have 141 pre-K students. And out of those pre-K, out of the 141, 66 of them are students with disabilities, the majority on the autism spectrum. So just as a point of reference when we do talk about the sensory issues, and I really don't have any perspective in terms of what the noise would actually be. But the Reeves School also houses a total of 132 students with disabilities. So I do think it's really important. Sometimes we forget that because the majority of the preschool is at that building, that the special education population is very large. And so it is different from a lot of our other elementary schools because of that. And I just think it's an important consideration as to how the noise and the different pieces would be mitigated, because we've got an awful lot of students there that have disabilities. And then lastly, the other comment that I wanted to make is the ESY program is slated to be at the Reeves for next summer, which will house several hundred students, and we've been trying to alternate with the buildings, and because the Shamrock is in need of a roof, the plan was to have that at the Reeves, so we would need to somehow work through it. So again, I recognize the importance of it, but I just, in sort of understanding the needs of the students there, especially the large population of students with disabilities, I really wanted to point that out so that you could have this as points of discussion.
If I could.
Yes.
I can bring up Pat Said, our project manager, or Donna again, but I think I might be able to handle this myself, too. I don't envision that the construction on the site for a new fire station is really going to impact operations at the school, either during the regular school year or even during the summer. I think what you're going to see is most of the work and most of the activity confined within a construction fence down on the field. And Donna, you can correct me if I'm wrong. You and Pat have been through this before. I think that's a fairly accurate statement. So and if there are other things that we need to do or can do to separate even more and minimize, we'll do that too. But I think you'll figure out, or we'll see, that it's a separate site and the disruption should be at a minimum. And
Thank you.
To your point about the, the sensitive nature of the student population, we certainly want to work to accommodate that as well. When we were preparing to knock down Station 4 in East Woburn, the original plan was to have those crews work out of headquarters, but we were able to find a site in the district, still in East Woburn, that we could rent for relatively short money. And it allowed us to keep this apparatus within the district and keep the response times down. We're really fortunate to be able to find that location. And we met with the neighbors in that area who hadn't had a fire station in their neighborhood before. It was, half mile the other way. We met with them and we kind of walked them through the process and kind of dispelled the fears that having a fire station next to you is just bells and whistles and loud noises and screeching tires all day long. It's not that. And the feedback we've received from those neighbors over there at the temporary site on Henshaw Street is that it's not a problem at all. They actually like having the firefighters there, and they're very courteous. They don't just throw on the sirens because they like the loud noises. These are professionals, and I know you know that. They're professionals, and they understand the environment they're working in, and they're very respectful of the people they serve. So I have no doubt that we'll be able to accommodate any of those concerns. I have faith in our firefighters.
I think that the committee, just as a whole, wants the city to know how dynamic the Reeves. It's very specifically a very dynamic population.
Understood.
And so we just really want to convey that's going to be one of the things I anticipate the committee is going to be keeping in mind when they deliberate this.
And we'll keep that in mind throughout the process.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you, Dr. Ryan, for bringing that to our attention. Ms. Cormier.
Yes.
What summer is this PSY?
Next summer.
26 or 27?
26.
26.
Ms. Cormier.
Thank you. Thank you for all of this information. This is very helpful. I do support this, barring any issues that Dr. Crowley may bring up regarding the educational use. I think it seems appropriate to me. I do want to point out, I know Mr. Mulrennan mentioned the summer, but it seems there's 14 months of building. It's not just really during the summertime. Again, not that it should affect, but there is always the potential. But Ms. Vice Chair Chisholm did mention in response to an email that it is important to include the community, and I appreciate just what she already spitballed here today, the fence that was mentioned also by a community member. And soundproofing and things. And so I think we need to make sure that the Reeves community has the opportunity to offer any insights that we haven't thought of to roll into this sort of agreement, that we are, we can't decide what you do with the field, right? We are just transferring that over to you. But to put some things in place that we think would be helpful. And again, we can't think of all of that, so that's why it's helpful for the community to have a chance. And then to vote at the next meeting, I think is, as you said, would be okay. And I think that would be the best course of action for us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cormier. Anything else? Yes, Mr. Austin.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I feel like what I'm going to say is going to be repeated. It has been repeated. But I'll say first and foremost, Chief, I respect and got much love for you and to your firefighters and first responders. I dreamt of being a firefighter, but the way my knees and back work, it became a nightmare. So therefore, I'll leave that work to you guys. So I'm in favor of this whole process. I love what Ms. Danisco you've created. I would love to see it come to pass. But again, as Ms. Chisholm said, I think we owe it to our community members to pause. And this is something I've always stated, we should always include the community as far as decisions being made that, if it affects them especially. So I'm all for it. I just think voting today would be a disservice to the community. And next meeting, I think it makes much sense. I just want to show my support.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Austin. Ms. Wetzel?
I just had a follow-up question just in regards to the noise. Are there any rules or regulations around when you put lights on and when you don't as an emergency vehicle? Or is it more of a...
Can I speak to that for
I would
a
love
second?
that. Yes, Chief. Thanks.
So, when we leave the station, we're always going to have our lights on.
Sure.
When we get down here, if we're making a left, we're probably not going to sound any kind of
Yeah.
audible. If we hang a right and we head to the Four Corners, we might have to put the siren on and
Yep.
get through the Four Corners, but we're not wailing on the siren from the second we leave the apron. It's not what we do.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that answers.
Many times, with the patients in the ambulance that are injured, we minimize the noise for the patients.
That makes sense. And I was going to say, from the Goodyear, I've seen the truck pull in and out multiple times, and I've not seen any sound on it. So, and I have also just softly spoke to a fair number of Reeves parents in the area just to sort of start gathering their opinions, and I've heard nothing but positive about it. It's actually comforting to many parents, albeit I haven't spoke to everybody, but the ones that I have seem comforted by the fire station being closer. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wetzel. Anything else? Yes, Vice Chair Chisholm.
I would make a motion, we send, or have the principal just kind of do some sort of a survey, especially from staff, letting them know what their concerns would be, or if there is any, because they're there, they live in that building, they would know more than us. And for the, maybe the parents could be sent home just, and FYI too, so they know that this is actually going to happen. You know, like I said, if you're not on Facebook, you probably don't even know this is happening. So it's something that we need to be aware of. And I would be remiss if I did not say I had a friend who had a fire last night, and I want to say they had nothing but great raves about the fire department and how wonderful and kind they were, and everything was good. And I have a neighbor that is taken out as a frequent flyer, and if I told you the street, you'd probably know. And they just think that
Everyone
he's...
knows. There's not one person here that doesn't know where you live.
I bet every firefighter would know who this person is, but they're so kind and very helpful.
Like a
and
secret.
Very, very professional, and I appreciate that.
Her underground layer. Thank you. Ms. Chisholm, you made a motion.
Yes.
And I believe it's to have administration work with principal of the Reeves to do a mini survey.
Yeah.
Second. On the
On the motion.
Crowley.
No, you would like a mini, I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
You would like a mini survey of concerns or
Yeah.
questions that either the staff and/or
That they may
parents
see.
have?
And it may be some of the similar things that we've said tonight, or they may just, and if there's something that they feel is important to them, then we'd like to make sure that we try to incorporate that in our signing off.
So
Great.
some sort of receptacle of
Yeah.
getting concerns.
Just so that there's transparency, that's what we all ran on, and that's what we always say, and it's kind of a buzzword, so we just want to make sure that that's out there.
Madam Chair, we have a flyer of sorts describing the project. And we also have information on that community meeting. We can share that with the superintendent. You can share that with the community. I think it's fine to also ask if they have other concerns, but that information, I think, would be enough to at least
Right.
generate something. And I know you're in the middle of a motion, but to the point,
It's okay.
to the point about, like, the timing, I think it's probably reasonable that you have a vote at your next meeting. I would want to offer some comfort, though, that if you were to vote tonight, we still go forward with our community meeting. We're still looking to accommodate, a peaceful cohabitation. We want to be well-received neighbors over there. I can't, I know you hope you were kidding. We can't accommodate a Christmas list of everything under the sun because there is only so much money, and we're trying to do this project within the confines of the bond authorization. So there are constraints that come with that. But reasonable measures that can fit under this project, we're willing to work with you. I wouldn't want this to be, an either or. Either everything on the list is done, or you don't get a new fire station. I'd like it to be a little more, collaborative than that, but again, things like the mouth of the driveway, the pedestrian sidewalk pathways, the crosswalks, separation, whether it's shrubs or a fence, or where do you put the fence? Those are all things we want to work with you on. I just don't want to be at a point where at your next meeting, we still haven't finalized the list and we have to keep pushing out, because at some point, that schedule does start to get impacted. And now we're kicking into another school year. So really what I mean is, if you were to vote tonight that you no longer need it for educational purposes, I wouldn't want you to think you lost your opportunity to make sure you had good neighbors next door at the fire station. You'll always have that opportunity.
We always know we can provide you with a list, Mayor. I think what Vice Chair Chisholm was sort of getting at in terms of communicating was really trying to capture the families that wouldn't go to a community meeting and be comfortable communicating with their principal. But I appreciate the outreach on this topic. But there was a motion, and I had a second. Is there any discussion on that motion? Does everyone understand what the motion is? It's to direct the superintendent to make sure there's a communication, two-way communication with Reeves families about this issue.
And you probably mentioned that there is a meeting next week that they can attend.
Yes. So,
On the motion, Madam Chair.
yes, Mr. Mulrennan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If I would, on this motion especially, doing a survey. I'm not sure what exactly the questions would be.
It's not a
And again,
survey.
getting back to what the mayor stated is that, what would you like? Well, we'd like to have Christmas lights on, that tree, and we want to have an Easter bunny out front, we want to have a Halloween pumpkin. I just would like to, anticipate what the survey would encompass before, as the mayor indicated, we're going to get back, looking at a list of concerns and ideas and thoughts that people have that aren't reachable. I just don't know what you're looking for in the survey, perhaps.
Sure, Vice Chair Chisholm, why don't you clarify what
It's not a survey, Mike. We're not asking that. What I'm asking is that the Reeves community becomes informed that this is happening. There's people that don't have all day, every day to attend meetings, so they might not know that this is happening. And that if there's safety concerns or something that they see because they're there every day, they might have, and it might be something that is as easy as a parking change or something to that, or a light blinking at the end. I don't know, but we need, and again, for transparency purposes, we should do that and allow them all to have a voice. That's what we're here for. Everybody is in favor of a fire station. No one has said that we don't want a fire station. No one has said that this isn't something we approve, but we just want to make sure that we do our due diligence in giving them the voice that we all say we give. Period. End of story. Next. Oh.
Any further discussion on Vice Chair Chisholm's motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Seeing none. Okay, that motion passes.
There you go.
And it seems like the administration and Mr. Cominance can communicate the way they normally would, and also make sure that the date for the community meeting is in that communication. Okay. Is there anything else? I have a couple. Dr. Crowley, would you want to?
Oh, I'll wait.
Oh, okay. Just a couple of questions I asked the mayor prior to the meeting. I looked at the feasibility study from 2023, which Jonathan Isco did, and I noticed that some of the deficiencies noted in the Reeves might overlap with some of the work that is done in terms of Gillis Field. For instance, we named a couple, making the accessible path to Gillis Field and sort of cleaning up the parking lot. So there's an opportunity to correct some of the deficiencies that were noted in the feasibility study while also advancing the interests of the city, the fire station. So I appreciated that conversation this morning. And also, I think the committee will enjoy sort of thinking about what we would need just to feel more safe with the fire station there, but not asking for something that's too unreasonable.
Right. Correct.
So, and that's all I have to say about that. Is there anything else for the mayor and his team?
Madam Chair?
Yes, of course. Mr. Mulrennan.
I think I'll refrain from my motion this evening, although the mayor has indicated that he's willing to allow us to put this off till our next meeting. And obviously, the vote will be favorable. The parents and the community will get the answers that they so deserve and desire. But again, this to the firefighters in the room, the men and women that will be working in the near future and the future of the firefighters, I can't say enough about the team that's developed this plan for both stations, as a matter of fact. Again, as someone that's lived at both Station 4 and Station 5, and to see the new headquarters that the chief and the men and women have today, and to know that someday they're going to have similar conditions as Station 4 and Station 5, again, it makes me proud to be a Woburnite. It makes me proud to be a former firefighter. It's going to be me great pleasure to see the future of the firefighter and the fire service in this community at the next meeting. So, again, to the team that's here tonight, to the firefighters and the public that are paying attention and watching, please ask the questions, get your concerns answered, so we can move on this at our very next meeting and get a shovel in the ground. Thank you very much.
Okay. Dr. Crowley.
So to the communication piece, Councilor Viola had asked, and we put out information last week to the Reeves community, and we'll continue to do that. So if you need anything more, just let me know, and we'll be happy to provide that to the Reeves community. As a reminder, the meeting is publicly when and where?
That's Spence Farm on the 20th.
20th.
Monday
That's
at 6 p.m.
Okay. I could have looked.
No,
but I
confirming.
Yeah.
Spence Farm on Wyman Street, 6 p.m. Monday, October 20th. Councilor Viola is hosting that meeting. I will have as much of the building committee team as I can muster to be in that room. And we look forward to answering any and all questions.
Great. And we'll continue to promote that meeting as well. I did want to say thank you to the principal who's here. Matt Comenis is here tonight, so thank you for being here. We weren't sure what questions might emanate and from the operational perspective that might be answered. Some questions were asked of me, and I have spoken to Mr. Comenis about the use of the Gillis Field. It really isn't used frequently. The indication is it's used once per year for photo day. And so as a school for educational purposes, it's not part of the everyday experience for our kids. The biggest concern that, and I don't want to speak for him per se, is safety. And so we have hundreds of kids there every day. We also have the preschool program that runs two separate sessions. So there's a pickup and drop off twice a day, plus the K-5 pickup and drop off. And so it's a busy place, and so that concern was raised by Mr. Comenis, rightfully so, but it sounds like, the building, there's an intent to not necessarily overlap during that time. So, again, I wanted just to acknowledge Mr. Comenis' feedback and thank him for being here tonight.
And I appreciate that, and I'll just reiterate what I had said earlier, and I really want it to hit home. The people who will be the neighbors at the Reeves School are Woburn firefighters. These are the people that we call when we have a problem, when we need help. They're professional, respectful, courteous. They're the people who get us out of trouble. They don't cause trouble. They're going to be extremely careful operating around our precious little people. Like, I really want people to understand that we're not talking about putting in, just some factory or some other type of operation. These are the best and the most careful. And these are the people you want to be as close to you as possible. So I want people to realize that, they're in good hands being next door to the firefighters. We'll talk through any of these concerns. The chief and the members can talk about how they respond to scenes and what they're doing and when they turn the lights on, when they put the sirens on, how they avoid running over people when they're rushing to a scene where somebody got run over. Like, they're the ones that know how to do it. So I want those fears to be addressed, and I want people to be well assured that we're not going to be introducing problems to this area, honestly.
Thank you, Mayor. And I think, Dr. Ryan.
I just want to clarify one thing that Dr. Crowley just mentioned with the pre-K. It actually, just again, we appreciate you help us out all the time, and I very much recognize the importance of this. I just want to make sure that everybody is informed. The pickups and drop-offs is actually 8, because the way the preschool works, the times for some of the different programs are a little bit different. So again, we would need to sort of sit down and make sure that everybody understands the schedules. And, you know, I hear you and I appreciate all of that. I just wanted the information out there. There's actually 8 cycles, I believe, that go through the reefs for pickup.
And that is similar, not exactly, but it's similar to the discussion we had with the neighbors at the Henshaw Street area about how things work. And we heard from them about how the other businesses in the area work and when you can expect to see things. And again, it's all about being good neighbors and understanding the needs of your neighbors. So I have no doubt we'll be able to work through all that.
Does the committee have any more clarifying questions for administration about the use of the Gillis Field at this point? I just had one. Again, if we're thinking about the future of the Reeves, the idea is to move the pre-K out to its own separate building and then have a K through 5 school, right? Do you think that that would change the use of the Gillis Field if we had a whole school-aged school of school-aged children versus ECP?
The only way I would say it is that it previously was a K-5 school for classroom school. And so if it wasn't used at that time, I wouldn't imagine that it would be reinstated and used again.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was a building that was the original.
Right. Yeah. And so there was never any use of that field for recess or any sort of play area for the students that we're aware of?
No. I mean, beyond maybe like the
Field
once
day.
a year field day.
Right.
But I don't know on the day-to-day that it was functioning that way.
Okay. That was my only question.
Yeah, I think the only part of it is just that wasn't probably previous was that you now have the play structure that's on the door side. So when we talked about the distance, and again, from the fire station to the door, you actually have in between that the play structure. So again, that just in terms of like functionality, I can think of that.
Okay, thank you. I think the next step for the committee, if I'm hearing it correctly, is to schedule the vote, put this back on the agenda on the 29th for a final vote. And I'm hearing that the committee is favorably looking upon this from reading the tea leaves. And I think at that point, we can, in the meantime, try to talk to our constituency to see if there's any outstanding concerns. Okay, great. That's going to move our MSBA vote, just so everyone's aware. That was when I was going to put MSBA sort of synthesization of data, not the vote. But we're going to start looking at that. We'll have to delay that so we can put that on the agenda, on this on the agenda instead. Okay?
I don't think this would be on.
You think I should put both on? Okay. Great. Then I'll put both.
We can do it.
All right. Anything else? I really appreciate you all being here. Mr. Nisco, nice to see you. Chief, thank you. City Solicitor Salvati, and the Mayor, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you all very much.
Again, the school committee is deeply appreciative of the service of the Woburn firefighters and this discussion.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. All right.
Can we take a 5-minute recess?
Yes.
I'm sure they'll.
Motion to second. All in favor?
Aye.
We're in recess. Although, any discussion on the motion? No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. We are now back on the record, and we're moving into subcommittee reports. Finance and
No.
Personnel sub.
Man, we have item C, sorry.
Yeah.
It is policies, so I understand the confusion.
I see that there are a number of policies that need action, so I'll start with the two policies that were brought forward by Mr. Austin, KA, Community Relations Goals, and AC, Harassment and Discrimination. These should be, do I have a motion to take them off the table for discussion?
So moved.
Any
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say
I ask
aye.
a question, Madam Chair.
I'm sorry?
Just so public can know the reason I'm taking them off the table for discussion.
Oh, sure, yeah. We're taking them off the table for discussion because last week they were placed on the table, and policy development happens in 3 meetings. They're placed on the table, then they're taken off the table for the purposes of discussion, and then the next meeting they will be up for a vote. So all those in favor of taking it off the table, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so those two policies are off the table for consideration of the amendments proposed by Mr. Austin. Does anyone have any discussion on this motion? I mean, discussion on these policies? Mr. Lipson.
Madam Chair, I believe at the last meeting sort of requested that administration take a look at some of the operational protocols around this and any potential issues there. I don't know if we've been able to take a look at that. I know that we have another meeting before we vote. But I just wanted to give administration an opportunity to weigh in if they've been able to look into any of these.
So I did, at the request of the committee, forward these to our attorney. I'm waiting to hear back specifically on the proposed amendments to the policies. So that has been done. I think one of the questions that you had asked was I think around KA, the policy KA, and the last paragraph specifically, I believe, is what you had asked about.
Yeah.
And so I'm waiting, as I just indicated, to hear from the attorney. However, what I would say is that I'm pleased with how we are trying to proactively invite community into the decision-making process. We have advisory committees for the redistricting. We have PTOs, obviously, at all of our elementary schools, school councils. I think about the ECP task force, and there was a parent that was on the ECP task force. The building committee that Ms. Crowley chaired over the past, whenever that was, there were community members on that. The Malcolm White Playground came around really quickly, but we pulled together a parent group there. So I would say that we are trying to actively engage parents and community members in real time when the need arises. As it relates to the paragraph itself, or I'll wait for Mr. Joyce to weigh in.
I appreciate that. And I also appreciate the efforts to bring in parent voices in all of these committees. I think it's been a really a good development. So thank you.
The paragraph in question is, the committee and staff will give particular attention to the advice they receive from individuals and community groups interested in the schools, particularly from those individuals and groups that have been invited to advise them regarding specific matters, but will ultimately use their best judgment in arriving at decisions on their own. That's the amendment at the last paragraph. Any further discussion on that? No? Okay. So it sounds like Michael Joyce, our attorney, is going to give us an opinion about the legalities of these two policies, and the school committee will vote to implement them or not implement them at the next meeting, since there's no further discussion. Okay, great. Now, moving on, we have, and I'll just direct to Ms. Cormier.
Yes.
We have several policies that are up for vote tonight. So if you could present those.
The following policies are ready for voting. We have DA, fiscal management goals, DB, annual budget, DBC, preparation of the budget document, DBD, budget planning, DBG, budget adoption process of procedures, DBI, budget implementation, DBJ, budget transfer authority, DD, funding proposals and applications, DDA-R, federal funds, DGA, authorized signatures, DH, bonded employees and officers, DI, fiscal accounting and reporting, DID, inventories, DIE, audits, DJ, purchasing, DJA, purchasing authority, DJB, purchasing procedures, DJDA, state contract purchasing, DJE, bidding requirements, DJG, vendor relations, DK, payment procedures, and JICFB, the new bullying policy that will replace the intervention plan that is currently in that slot in the policy manual, though that document will still be available on our website. So I will make a motion that we approve all of those aforementioned policies.
I have a motion to approve these policies. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that motion? Vice Chair Chisholm.
Just to let the public, you have discussed these all with Alex.
Yes, I sat down with Alex and Patty, Alex Tizio, the Director of Finance, and Patty McKinnon, his assistant, in June, on the 19th. No, 16th. And they were all approved by them. They gave me the permission to go forward.
There you go.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any
That
opposed?
passes 7-0. Is anyone opposed? No. No. Motion passes. All right, moving on to subcommittee reports. Vice Chair Chisholm, Finance and Personnel.
We're meeting tomorrow, but did we do the bullying policy? That was on here too. Did you include it?
No, I made that part of the
Okay.
same vote.
Okay. We're meeting tomorrow.
Okay, great. Community Relations Subcommittee, Mr. Austin.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. We actually met September 25th at 5:15 in this room here. For the agenda, we did a brief welcome everybody back, and also introduce, or I should say, welcome Superintendent Dr. Crowley to the Community Relations Subcommittee. Let's see. First, we did a highlight, basically, of what we worked on, or some of the agenda items from the previous school year. Afterwards, we discussed kind of what is the Community Relations Subcommittee based off of the policy and based off of a statement that you, Chair Crowley, has provided to the subcommittee. And we spoke about different strategies and how we can fulfill those duties. Some of the conversation we talked about was reestablish or establish connections with PTOs, local community partners, and organizations, and learn how we can collaborate or learn about what this organization does. And we also spoke about speaking to community members and learn about ideas on how the community subcommittee, or should I say the school committee, could be more transparent, as that's the buzzword that we've been hearing, and how we can communicate more effectively. So these are all part of the conversation that we had. Let's see. So some of the future goals we talked about was to invite individuals from the community and how they can either possibly serve or partner with the schools. And as I mentioned before, learn about ways to be more effective with our communication and transparency. And this is something that I'm looking to do myself, is either create some type of something to speak to the community members, or directly to learn what is it, or should I say, how are we not being transparent, and how are we not communicating well, and just kind of have a dialogue. If someone has an issue, I feel, with what we're doing, maybe having a conversation to figure out how we can, do better, if you will. Future meeting dates, we talked about meeting the last Wednesday of the month, or should I say the 5 o'clock before the second general meeting, and that's we adjourned at 5:56, and those are my minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Austin.
Sure.
Moving on to, does anyone have any questions for Mr. Austin? Okay, moving on to Curriculum and Data Trends Subcommittee, Mr. Lipset.
Yes, we also met on September 25th at 3 o'clock in this room. In attendance were Assistant Superintendent Young, as well as school committee members, Ms. Chisholm, Ms. Wetzel, and myself. Ms. Young did sort of give us a general update on some changes she'd like to make moving forward in terms of how we handle curriculum subcommittee agendas and information. And I actually want to highlight it because I think it's really excellent work, sort of creating a master document for each meeting with links to any presentations, any information that is going to be presented to the subcommittee. That's easily attachable to minutes and easily made public. So that document was on my last curriculum subcommittee minutes. It will also, one for this particular meeting will be on these as well. We talked about a number of different topics. The first on the agenda was AI. Ms. Young and her department started to develop an AI leadership team to look at systems and structures on how we approach responsible policies towards and guidelines towards AI in the district. A lot of that work is going to be done through the building-based instructional learning teams, or ILTs. There could be potential school committee policies that could come from this, but most of that work is going to be done internally, and it might be sort of ancillary policies that may come to us. Once that work has been able to really coalesce, Ms. Young does see a path forward as well for engaging the community, potentially bringing in community input, trying to connect with businesses, trying to connect with people in industry and people who have a wide variety of views on the use of AI in education. I made mine clear, but that's fine. On early college, Ms. Young is working towards a DESE application for early college grants. We have increased our offerings from 3 to 9 courses. We've got professors from UMass Lowell coming in to work with both faculty and students on a regular basis, and we've also added a one-goal support class. We got a lengthy update on grants that have either been awarded or are being pursued. That is attached to the minutes as well. We're also going to be, the curriculum department is looking into holding, this is probably now past tense, but holding a series of informational meetings for families of Title I schools, including piloting those at back-to-school nights.
Yeah.
And that was done these
All the
most recent
breakfasts, I think, finished up last week, and then we piloted running the breakfast, wasn't a breakfast, it was a nighttime snack at the back-to-school night at the Shamrock School, which was nice. We were able to run it in the library, so we were able to have more kind of engagement, and so after that pilot, we're hoping to shift that to the other buildings going as well.
The ever-popular breakfast for dinner, which is a staple.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you for all of that work as well. In terms of MCAS, I guess DESE had a planned MCAS portal to distribute all of the scores to families, and then last minute delayed it due to some data privacy concerns, so that has delayed getting MCAS results out to families. That is all done through DESE. That is not on us.
But results are going home, because we were waiting at that point. Once they pivoted, we hadn't received the paper copies yet.
Yep.
So now we've received the paper copies, so they should be getting sent out Friday.
Excellent. Any chance I have to throw DESE under the bus, I'll take.
We didn't have the paper until a little bit later than usual.
STAR and DIBBLE assessments are going to be completed soon. Letters sent home on the 17th. Is that still the goal? So this week?
Yeah, so all assessment data should go on the end of this week.
Awesome. And the department's going to hold a virtual session to help families understand these tools on October 28th at 7 p.m., and I imagine communication will be coming out on that as we go.
That should be going home in Smart Communications, which will be just another informational session on DIBBLEs and STAR data and how to kind of analyze and better understand them, but it will be recorded and then we'll put it up online. But there will be translation provided during the Zoom as well, but it also will then be pushed out for those who want to view it.
That's great. Thank you. And that's it. We adjourned at 3:48 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Lipset.
Luckily, I wrote it
I was like, I wonder what he's going to say.
Is STAR data and DIBBLES data useful to the school committee for any purpose, or is it help?
So I'll include, so typically what I do is I include it as part of our MCAS presentation.
Yes, okay.
And spoiler alert, that our STAR data and our MCAS data are pretty aligned. So they're good predictors of each other. So we talk a lot about MCAS as like the single measure, but we have a lot of kind of intermittent measures. But I typically include them all part of. And I believe that's the November. Is that when I'm coming for that in November?
I believe so.
Yes.
I think so.
But I'll go through the subcommittee typically first. and
Yeah,
then
we're
come.
trying to schedule something in advance of that to go over.
Yes.
I couldn't remember if that's something that was.
And we moved the November meeting. That's why it paused. I
Oh,
think that-
yes.
So,
Okay.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Resources and Capital Policy Subcommittee, Ms. Cormier, did you already do your dance?
I did. We have not met.
Okay, great.
That was all I have.
Resources and Capital Planning, Ms. Wetzel.
Yes, we met today, so just I'll briefly summarize some of the things we talked about, but I'll have my full list of notes for next meeting. And
Okay.
mostly, I just want to hit on some of the upcoming dates. Resources is focusing, well, today's meeting, on our phased redistrict plan. And I met with Ms. Young, and she put together a fabulous presentation that we presented at Resources, and you'll be able to find all of the information we talked about in Resources. Some of it is probably still on the tabletop there, but those will be on our website, our redistricting website on our WPS site. And you'll find that information, all of my notes, information from Sanborn, who we are working with. Again, that was the consultant who we worked with last school year. And we've met with them. Ms. Young and her team met with them already, and they're right now compiling component data that we can look at our first redistrict advisory committee meeting, which will be October 28th, and there'll be another one on November 5th. And the advisory committee has been notified of those dates and will be taking place in a hybrid form for ease of access. In our next resources meeting, and we've planned those out through the end of through the end of this year, 2025, we'll be meeting November 10th. And December 9th. And those meetings will meet after the advisory committee meetings to discuss what was talked about and what we bring forward to the full school committee. And we have a tentative special meeting date to talk redistricting on November 19th. That's a full school committee meeting. And our anticipated vote for this phase redistrict, should we need to modify or change anything, should we need a vote, because again, we are still in the process very early on of synthesizing data, so we don't know if we'll be needing to vote, but that is scheduled for December 17th, and the reason all these dates and information was put together now is to allow families an opportunity to engage in the process, as well as be aware of when they should expect decisions made and what that will look like. And something Ms. Young talked a lot about in our meeting today was putting together really a comprehensive plan on what we're going to be doing every year and how we're going to be looking at this. That way, no matter who is sitting here or in the advisory committee can really come in with the knowledge that everybody else had, because we have this plan in place and this structure. So we talked a lot about that as well today at our meeting. And we also talked about our communication plan and how we will get information out, which again, our website will be updated, and we'll be sending information out through SMORE's newsletters as well as school councils and PTOs. And we thought, Dr. Crowley, you could include it in your monthly newsletter that you send out, like just a redistrict sort of section. And possibly work with Samantha Stone in the mayor's office as well on ways we can make sure the community who do not have children inside of the school system might be aware and better understand what we are doing inside of our schools. And Ms. Young, I'm not sure if I missed anything super important to hit on now.
Mostly great. The one thing I'll just mention, one of the big parts of the timeline and when we looked at really kind of the process was making sure that we had a decision prior to starting the budget process. So the purpose of the timeline, one is we're waiting till the October 1 SIMS data before we start to upload it in, but then also to make sure that we know what our plan is prior to us starting the budget. So this would make us have the vote at the end of December, implementation planning, which would then have the budget implications in January. And then the date we have to notify families we have is written as April 1st, but the reason for the date of it is so that we can have January to be planning in case there are any budget implications.
It really is okay if you put it off to January, just so everyone knows. That would be fine.
I know.
Come on. We're voting in December now, baby. And we adjourned at 6:30? Yes, at 6:30, and then we'll meet again November 10th.
Thank you, Ms. Wetzel. Any questions for Ms. Wetzel in Resources and Capital Planning Subcommittee? Take none. Okay. Student Service and Achievement, Mr. Mulrennan.
Yes, we did meet. I want to thank Ms. McLeod. You should all have a handout in front of you from our meeting of Thursday, September 25th at 6:15 here at the Joyce. In attendance was Mr. Lipset, Ms. Wetzel, myself, and Dr. Ryan, and she gave us our updates. The public comment, no one came to speak, so I just want to go over a couple of the highlights of Dr. Ryan's handout here. I won't read the whole thing, but a lot of our highlights were that the returning team chairs all returned into the building. This is kind of an update. You know, school's already been open, but at this point, it had just opened, so she's very pleased to see that. The SLPAs, two, when they were filled up. The co-teaching is being done by our fellows in the building. Further down, we see Bond Babies on there. I know we received an email from them. I know they've already visited once. They're coming back a couple more times before the winter, so the Bond Babies is always an exciting program. The usual dyslexia, the structured literacy, school-based consultant programs. Wilson Compass program, we have some in-house training going on. And the out-of-district, as of September 25th, Dr. Ryan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I have okay, so I'd like to have okay in front of out-of-district. And again, I know Mr. Doherty from the City Hall was here tonight, so I, again, reaffirm the fact that, you know, you're corresponding with Mr. Charlie Doherty from City Hall quite often, and those meetings are going very well as far as your programs. And we adjourned at 6:30 p.m. Any questions, or did I miss anything?
Thank you, Mr. Mulrennan. Dr. Ryan, did you want to elaborate?
Pretty good.
Okay.
You got most of it. I'm just going to clarify a couple of things.
All right, I know I didn't want to fill them all in, but
The co-teaching model actually started with fellows, but it is now, it's in its, I believe, third year, and we've expanded it into the first grade at one building. So it's a program that's been developing, and it's been doing very well. And we started this with whatever fellows are available for us every year, but it's
Awesome.
it's doing really well. And the other part that I will add, because this comes up every year, and again, just purposes of transparency, I like to make sure that people are aware of this. Staffing additions since the budget was passed last year. A SOAR teacher at the Kennedy Middle School was put into place due to numbers. A nurse was added due to some students with medical disabilities, and a one-to-one paraprofessional for a student with significant mobility needs. So again, people always sort of ask when it comes budget season how positions came on, and when we have students that come in or special needs or numbers, whatnot, and we need to add them, that's sort of how it goes, but I just wanted to point that out. And I think the rest of it, the SLPAs are an addition, so that is something that is new to the district. They are not in place of, but it is something that's going to only further support our programs.
Are those assistants? What's the A?
Yes, it's an assistant. And again, it's not in place of any of our full-time SLPs. It's just really to supplement and be able to provide more services and to help us a little bit more.
Thank you, Dr. Ryan.
if I may, again, Madam Chair, I did have a note here for the circuit breaker reimbursement, if you wanted to add any comments about that.
Oh, yes. So the out-of-districts are right where we want them to be. I would say we're in pretty good shape, and a piece of that is because the circuit breaker reimbursement has been coming in high. So we have more money that is going into the out-of-district line because the circuit breaker numbers have been higher than in previous years.
Good.
So because of that, I don't have any concerns with
Okay.
respect to out-of-district at this time.
Okay, thank you for that clarification, Dr. Ryan.
All right.
Set, Madam Chair.
Okay, correspondence, yes, we received one from Rachel Kuberry regarding concerns about making sure that Woburn is hiring diverse workforces, relating back to the students that came to speak to us last spring, was it? June. Spring. And I responded about the various tensions in the legal field regarding this particular topic. And then I don't think I received anything more. Any other correspondence?
There was the one about the Reeves
Yeah.
fence.
Oh, the
Yes,
Reeves and the
fence.
fence, which we addressed earlier tonight. That was from Emily Peters, is that right? Okay. Future agenda items.
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Wetzel, go ahead.
I just wanted to add on, so I held office hours like a week and a half ago or
Sure.
so. And Ms. Kuberry came to those office hours, and in that time, we talked also about diversity in hiring. And I know there are some legalities that go along with that, but I do think it's important topic that we, I think, should continue to discuss. We heard from a lot of students in June that came before us, and there's a lot of studies out there too that show kids need to see somebody that's like them in a leadership role, a teacher, or whatever, any really role inside the schools. So I think I'm hearing from the students, hearing from her, and then looking at our Department of Ed reports too, citing that we have some of our schools don't have any diversity in terms of the work staff inside. So I'm wondering if that's something the committee can look at further, and being mindful of obviously the legal restraints that we might have.
It's just executive orders from the federal government.
I think it's
regarding that
important
kind of
for the
dialogue.
community.
But, okay. What would you like the committee to do?
I don't know if it's something, I'm not sure if it's something that should be referred down to subcommittee where they can work through the problem that way. Or
Okay.
the issue, not problem, it's not a problem, but work through the issue.
Yeah,
So-
no, of course. Which subcommittee does normally Tony Wyman?
Personnel.
Personnel, oh, of course. All right, do you want to take that under
Sure.
personnel?
That would be wonderful.
Thank you very much. Okay.
I'd like to speak on that.
course,
I
Mr.
do
Austin.
know that the NAACP has a partnership with MPDE, which stands for Mass Partnership for Diversity in Education. I believe we are in collaboration with them. I'm not sure how much we utilize their efforts. What I do know is that they host job fairs where people of color can come, and the idea is to have schools that are predominantly white will come there and hire folks that are of color to bring to their district. I'm not sure if we're also utilizing schools such as Middlesex Community College or schools that have folks that are of color to bring to the district. So these are the efforts that I feel like, I don't know if Dr. Crowley is interested in reestablishing the connection. I'm not sure if there is a connection with MPDE as of now, and that could be done with personnel as well.
Justin, are you
okay.
on personnel?
I am not.
Oh, sorry, Dr. Crowley, go ahead.
No.
I didn't cut you off.
So we've been an active member of the Mass Partnership for years, and we continue that relationship. We're at a meeting tomorrow with that organization. Mr. Wyman attends regularly. For years, we've attended the job fairs. We've done virtual job fairs. Years ago, Cambridge Regional Latin had a job fair. One of the things, and I mentioned it at the previous meeting, one of our realities is that we hire, because the budget isn't passed, we're hiring somewhat later than some of the other districts. So we can post the anticipated openings, but if other openings are ready to go, we are put into that position. So one of the first things I did when I became the superintendent was join that organization. And so it's an important point to raise. And I know the research. I believe the research. And so all right, I'll stop, but I just wanted to react to that.
Thank you. Okay, so future agenda items. Again, next meeting, we will do, hold on.
They want to go back to correspondence if I could.
Oh, back to correspondence.
Sorry about that. I just want to,
Of course, Ms. Mulready.
we had the fire department here tonight about the station, but I just want to remind everybody that Saturday at the headquarters building, 731 Main Street, is the annual fire prevention open house. Bring your families down. Obviously, as I stated before, come and see that magnificent facility, but also get some fire safety tips. There's a Jaws of Life demonstration, hats, coloring books, and packages that the people put together for the children that come by. So Saturday, I believe it's like 10 to 1, before, after, or during a soccer game. Come on by and see what's happening at the fire station. Thank you very much.
Mr. Lipset.
One more quick correspondence.
Of course.
I feel like it's a good opportunity to remind the community that tomorrow night at 6:30 is the school committee candidate forum to fill this very seat. So I hope lots of people come out and see all the folks who are vying to join this body.
And on Thursday, there's an open house at the high school, 6 p.m. Come on down.
Okay, we got a busy week.
Yes.
And Friday
All right.
morning, you can go to the...
Any other correspondence? Okay. Future agenda items. The vote for pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 3 will go on the next agenda where we decide whether or not we need the Gillis Field for education purposes or whether we're willing to convey it back to the city for the purposes of building the fire station. Is there any pieces of information that the committee needs to inform their vote on this so that administration can know about it now so they can try to gather that data for you that you can think of? Mr. Lipset.
I would say only the results of whatever comes in from our asks to the Reeves community. I think, if we have concerns that members of the community raise, that's something that we can talk about before a vote and hopefully, able to reach some kind of agreement with the city on how to move forward there.
Okay. All right, great. And I have Ms. Chisholm's request about the fencing and also the deficiencies noted in the feasibility study that could be possibly corrected as well. Okay. So that will go on the next agenda. And then that same night, we will start looking at the MSBA survey data about which projects the community supports. So we'll look at that. I don't think we'll be ready to vote on that on the next meeting, but we'll start to look at the data and see where we stand in terms of our various deliberations. Okay, great. Any other future agenda items?
I have one. I don't remember the last time that the Education Foundation came before us. I think Maureen Willis was still there.
Yep.
But coming up on November 15th is the 3rd annual Gourmet Gala held by the Woburn Community Education Foundation, the purpose of which is to raise money for grants for our Woburn educators. And number one, a plug for that, because there are a couple tables left for that. And they made $33,000 last year, which was the most impressive fundraiser that they've had to date. And this year, obviously, will be even better. And I was hoping that maybe after that event, we could have a representative, maybe Brian Tague or Alex Ray, come before us and fill us in on what's been going on with the Ed Foundation.
That sounds great. Thank you. Okay. Anything else for future agenda items? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Aye. This meeting is adjourned.